Buddy, ToonCamp, we are an animation community focused on helping you go from your ideas to finished animation projects. Lots of free classes, events, and workshops. We also have some classes that are limited to supporting members, some of the boot camps and labs that we may have in the future. Um, so this is, we're part of Skill Camp. It's a 501c3 nonprofit organization. Um, we're all about free and low cost classes to help you master the skills that you need to reach your life goals. And yeah, lots of different kinds of classes and stuff coming up. I'll post a little bit more info in the chat. And Beatrice is our instructor. Um,
Hello. I'm a little sore. Sorry. It's been a rough day.
oh
Um,
no, sorry to hear it.
so yeah, and today we are doing the second week of Animation Lab, which is an introductory course to animation and how to do movement in animation. Um, where we're going to go through the principles of animation as outlined, more or less, by Disney animators in the 1930s. Today, on week 2, we're going to be looking at spacing and timing, as it is the basis of what everything builds from. So, to begin, let's review a little bit of last week, and let's actually talk a little bit about what we said last week for the people who weren't there. Last week we talked about we did our introductions. I did mine, you did yours, and we went through a little bit of animation history, a little bit of animation lingo, what hardware to use and what hardware to get for those who are interested in animation but do not have any prior experience, and what software to use, free and paid, for those who are interested. And I did a suggestion of software that we could use, which is what we're going to be using for this course, at least for those who have no prior familiarity with art or animation, which is going to be Animation Paper. For those who do have familiarity with art or animation, they are free to use whatever software is comfortable to them. This is not an issue to me. So that was a very brief summary of the first lesson. Now, on this lesson, we're going to be on this second meeting. We're going to be reviewing what happened during the week. If you did any experiments with animation paper, any difficulties, any questions, anything that you found interesting, and lastly, if there was any clip from a show or a movie that really stood out to you that you want to look at, or if you have or if you made something that you want to be analyzed as well. All of these are options. So let's begin. Bathon, how do I say your name?
Yeah, you could say Bithon. It doesn't matter. I know.
Okay. Okay. So do go on.
Well, I'm not really sure how to explain. I tried it out a little bit. I made a couple of I tried to make the walking animation a couple times, just practicing it over and over again. But other than that, I didn't have too much time to actually practice. So, but yeah, I've been watching a bunch of shows and animations, and just I really want to learn how to do. So how to one day do that myself. It's gonna be baby steps, and I know that, but I'm here to learn.
thing. Yeah, that's exactly it. That's exactly it. If you want to share what your like walking cycles look like, do feel free. Down in the group in Animation Lab, you have 10-second clips. You can post anything up to 10 seconds there for us to look at and go through frame by frame.
All right. Oh,
If you want to do
let
that,
me.
feel free to do that. If not, it's okay as well.
I will.
Jotol! Oh, sorry.
I will think. I don't know if I want to share.
Okay, fair enough. So, Jotol. I need to make you louder. I do hear you, but it's very, very low.
I'm sorry. I don't know why my phone does this.
It's better now though. It's better now though. So, did you?
What was the question, sir?
The questions were if you did any kind of experiment since last time with animation, anything you tried to do, or if you had any questions or difficulties or anything that intrigued you about either the craft or the software, and lastly, if you have any clips that you want to share, either from shows or movies you liked that really stood out to you, or from your own personal creations.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to pop in last class. I only just popped into this as well just to see what it was all about as well. So I'm a little behind. Sorry,
That's okay. That's okay.
but thank you.
It's not. It's not. Well, yeah. We were gonna have a moment. Okay. So then, Mesh. What about you?
Yeah, hello. I also missed the last class, but I did see that there was it was live streamed, so I actually checked out. I sort of quickly sort of went through the slides and stuff from the week one class, and yeah, good, really good summary. I've heard of the 12 principles of animation before, but it was cool seeing sort of like a summary of that. As far as things to share, I actually I was actually looking for a clip I saw the other day. I'm like a big I have like a terrible addiction to like animation memes, I guess. Like whenever they come up in my YouTube, I just like get mesmerized. And there's one that I've just been watching continuously. I don't even know why. I'm like it's like I mean it's actually kind of nicely animated. But like I did a little more research, and apparently it comes from a Chinese web series. But this little clip was like going viral, and yeah, it was just oddly mesmerizing. I'm not sure if it's rotoscoped or it may I don't know, but yeah, if anyone wants to watch that at some point, you could get a look into the two brain cells in my mind and how easily amused they are.
All right.
But that's the power of animation.
It is. It is.
I want to learn more about that.
It's a little bit too long for the format, for the whole 10 seconds thing. Like we can't go over it frame by frame. I'm just taking a quick look at it. Because
yeah.
okay, let me clarify this here. These 10-second clips currently, they're going to mostly focus on the execution of the actual animation. This isn't going to be focusing on the storytelling aspect, like how the shots interact or like the little different things. So
like,
give me a second. So this doesn't have to be specifically. So that's why they're very, very strict, because these are about showing how specific things were done in a specific in their own specific way, and exploring that.
Gotcha.
That's what these 10-second clips are here mostly for. It's to understand how animation was done specifically in the context of how they made it look so good, you know? And what you posted, it doesn't look rotoscope to me. I can play it
Well,
on main screen in a little bit.
yeah.
It
Okay.
it
Yeah.
looks
Yeah. Well. Yeah. I think there's definitely some characters that I don't think are rotoscoped at all. But well, actually, I don't know. I'm not sure. You probably would know better than I do. But the really smooth dance part, like, I guess if you want to analyze like a 2 second clip or something, I mean, there's a couple of little places in there that I think could be analyzed that way. Uh, from this, I mean, the clip in total is like 30 seconds or something.
it is. It's
But I
very
think there's like
short.
there's a few little spots in there that could maybe be analyzed. But yeah. Anyway, yeah, I'll shut up now. I just want to say, yeah, I should probably see like what the format of what we're doing is before I like do stuff. So
No, but this is really
Yeah.
cool. This is really cool.
I don't think it's rotoscoped.
No, it's definitely not. Rotoscoping would look very different.
mm.
Rotoscoping would look very different. This has the marks of proper of like proper of of standard animation procedure. With keyframes, and it's just very well in between.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm Nance.
Yes, that's me.
That is
Hi.
you. Hello.
Had a hard time getting onto this program. So I took about I'm retired, and I took an online animation class through a community college. We used After Effects, and I'm also going to start. I want to also try some stop motion animation. I'm starting to make a puppet. I do have an MP4 clip. I don't know how of what I did for class. So, and this is I just tuned into this like today. I didn't know this was going on, so I missed last week. But are you going to switch to a visual after this?
Yes, I am going to go
Okay,
over the little
okay,
clips
alright.
that people have sent.
Great. Okay. Okay.
And then we're gonna go back
So-
to the PowerPoint, go through the little theory, and show videos as well, and then the exercises.
Okay. Do you want me to submit them? I don't even know how to submit the video. So.
Okay, so in Discord, you see the little bar on the left with the channels?
Yes.
You scroll down until you see a category called Animation Lab.
Yeah.
And beneath that, you should see like 2 little speech bubbles that say 10-second clips after.
Oh, okay.
You create a new post in there, and you add your video to the image thing. So you click the little image thing, and you add the video there.
Where it says note.
Mine doesn't say note.
No, maybe I don't have the right one. Okay. I don't want to hold you guys up.
Nacho can probably guide you through that, if that's okay with
Sure.
him.
Are you on a phone or a laptop?
I'm on my laptop.
Okay, yeah. So, are you using in the channel? Do you see where it says open chat and there's like a little text? So,
No.
you see a
It
little
says
green-
animation lab, a classroom, events, announcements, classroom.
Yeah. So if you scroll down just below announcements, and then it says classroom, and there's a little green speaker.
Yes.
Just hold your cursor
Okay.
a little bit to the right where it says open chat. There's a little speech bubble.
Oh, I
button.
got it. Okay, awesome.
And then inside the chat window, there's a plus button you can click to upload files. I'm sorry, were we supposed to put them in a different channel? Apologies if I made a mistake.
It's okay. It's okay. Don't worry, Nacho. Let me open that. Nance is gonna post it, and then we can look at it as well. If it's an MP4, I can also download it and add it to the clips. Let me just move this to the
Yeah, I don't know how to link it, so yeah. Yeah, I don't know how to link it. I have the MP4, but I don't know how to put it in there. So
Is this? Yeah, it is that thing mesh. It is exactly that thing mesh. That's where it's supposed to be sent.
where do I put the How do I download? How do I View the
You
file.
drag and drop the video into the chat.
Ah, okay.
That
Here we
way,
go. Got it. Okay.
the way that Nacho told you,
Ours is
just
too,
drag
it's
and
too
drop.
big.
Oh, okay,
It's too big, yeah.
that's a
Okay, never
different
mind.
issue. That's a
No
different
problem.
issue then.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so then Remza, anything new? I remember last time you did a little blob crashing into a wall and bouncing off.
I'm sorry. I have something to share today, but I have some inconvenience, and right now I am driving, so
Okay,
I won't be able to do it.
fair enough. That's okay. You toast just. I'm gonna call you Toast. Is that okay?
Sorry?
No, you're driving, so we're moving on to the next one. Is that okay, Remza?
Okay. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
All right.
Totally call me Toast.
Yeah, can I call you Toast?
Yes, of course.
Okay. You just joined the. Even still, is there anything you want to share?
So I'm completely new at this, at digital art and animation, so any help I can get is super appreciated. I did have a question. So I have used Krita before. I'm not super great at it, but I'm kind of getting used to it. The animation side, I haven't experimented with it yet. Is there like a specific like size that you're supposed to do? Because you can make it like any size in like the art side of it, like 500 to 500, 1,000 to 1,000, 2,000 to 3,000.
General rule: try to use standard 16:9 format. So if you want to do really like, okay, in terms of pixels, you go to the little chat that Nacho said. You can use this size for animations. 1920 by 1080.
Okay.
This is the standard for high definition video currently. It's 4K is becoming a thing, more frequent and whatnot, but this still works. Okay, that's it. So that's the question?
That was the question.
Okay. And then the last one, Zuriel. Besides the clip you sent, anything else you want to talk about?
Well, with that same clip, I ended up finishing my animation today
Ooh, nice.
with color.
With color. Okay, that's cool. Do you wanna post it as well? And instead of looking at the
I
at the
know I might be able to post it because the thing is that I've checked that
it's
if
too
it's
big.
over 8 megabytes, then
Yeah,
it won't
it's too
post it
big.
unless I'm on Nitro.
Yeah, it's too big. It's the Discord limit.
Unless I get Nitro, but you know.
Yeah, no, I don't have Nitro either. I know the feeling.
I guess like unless if I share my screen or whatever I put on the video, you might not be able to hear it. I guess, but I guess that can work or something.
Speaking of sharing screens, actually, for the exercises, I don't know if you can share your screens, but if you cannot, I would ask Nacho to allow it. Because during the exercises, it might be interesting or it might be helpful to be able to see what people are doing if they want to share what they're doing. Regardless, I have your clip, the unfinished one.
Sure.
Yes.
I just updated, I think, sorry about that. I guess this channel didn't have the video share permissions, but now it does, so.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so I have your clip, and
You share that first clip first so they can get the gist, and I will show them the final part.
yeah, I'm gonna share the clip. We can look at it. Let's go down here, just so I have a little reference. This is the clip. It is on stream, and let's play it on loop.
Alright, you 50 Doritos, here's what we're gonna do. we're all going to man up and fight that thing over there. Got it?
On Discord, there should be no sound. But I can make it be sound. Oh, right, I'm not streaming on Discord. Now I'm streaming on Discord. I forgot about that. I thought I was streaming on Discord. I know, Nacho. I know how to stream. I just forgot.
So for anyone who's new to Discord, you want to click on Beatrice's name. So it says Beatrice M live, and you can view the video. Is everyone able to find that okay?
Now it would be very helpful if my screen didn't do this half thing. Let's just do full screen and that should fix it. Yeah, it fixes it. Perfect. Okay, so I'm gonna play the clip again, now while screen sharing.
Alright, you 52 riddles. Here's what we're gonna do. We're all going to man up and fight that thing over there. Got it?
And it's going to play for a couple of times.
Alright, you 52 riddles. Here's what we're gonna do. We're all going to man up and fight that thing over there.
Yeah, everyone's
Got
here.
it?
Everyone's here. Just one more,
Alright, you 52
and then we're
riddles.
gonna go
Here's what
over.
we're gonna do. We're all going to man up and fight that thing over there. Got it?
Okay. Stop. One more, just to loop back around. Okay. Now, I believe it's not this. I just gotta find which button it is. Doesn't say which button it is, but if I do this, okay, it's still working. It didn't do the weird screen thing. So I gave you a quick overview of what I found here. Some things, you have a really dynamic movement here. Like a lot of things are happening here.
Here's what we're gonna do. We're all going to man up.
Silence now. Like you have a lot of like very dramatic changes in pose. You got this one, like this to oh wait, this moves too fast. You got like the head swing, then it goes all the way to this. Just like really dynamic changes. Another really dynamic change. And yet another one. And all in all, and yet another one, like very much jumping across the screen and doing a lot of things. And overall, I think this works really well. Or like it's really dynamic and the energy is really well portrayed. You have strong. God damn it. I said I'm a little sore today. Throat's a little sore. You have very dynamic poses. Like when you go from this to this. Like these poses are very expressive. This one's very expressive. The next one, this key pose is very expressive as well. Next one is also quite expressive. Like they do a really good job at making the action very clear. Like this pose is brilliantly expressive. I love this one in particular. It's really good. And this one's also really good. You also have some really good breakdowns, like how you go from this. Okay, that was really fast. Yeah, but like this is a really good breakdown of the motion. The breakdowns are also really expressive and they give a lot of character to the movement. And they create really interesting arcs. Like here not a lot happens in this first one, but then this breakdown here is really good. That then just finishes up. It's really dynamic and energetic breakdown. In a way, it's also comedic, which I think was a bit of your intention. It's exaggerated to the point of comedy. These poses, wait, oh boy, this pose is really cool. Then this breakdown, this breakdown is also really cool. But then you go back to this, and the way that the timing works here isn't really that great, because you have, or at least it feels like you have, the same amount of frames going up with the arms that you have going down. So you have this, and it feels a little bit mechanical. That's when we have the problems that I mentioned of slow ins and slow outs. It has to do with the timings of this shot in particular, of this part of the shot in particular, where you have this really dynamic shot, this really, really interesting pose, and it goes down, the arms go down a little bit, and then the arms go back up a little bit. And they feel like they don't do a lot, like where everything else is very dynamic and interesting and characterized. This particular part just feels a little stiff in how the arcs were handled, because they just move up and down. Like, I know they don't just move up and down, but they feel like they just move up and down. And this is the kind of movement where it would probably be better if... So, my suggestion for something like this is a really strong pose. I want the starting one. Okay, this is the starting pose, I believe. And then he flexes. Oh, crap, that went way too much. And then he flexes down. But when he flexes back up, it doesn't need to flex back up as much. You can treat this frame as an overshoot rather than a breakdown, where he's just overshooting the motion of the arms. So he's just moving the arms down to get like the dramatic hero pose, so to say. And you can keep, and it doesn't need to go basically back to where it begins. That's what I would say about this. Also, it's a little too obvious that this doesn't move where everything else moves, and that feels a little awkward. But that can definitely be overlooked. If you...
Actually, that was intended. Because the problem I had back then was that whenever I would tend to like redraw like the whole body in every frame, it'll look weird. That would go off model.
Oh yeah. I know that problem. Like, I know this is intended. What I would suggest here... Okay, no, this is fine. This is perfectly fine. Is that... Okay, this is fine. Is that you just need to adjust this top part, you know?
Oh yeah.
This
okay.
top part so that it's... So that the belt arcs the way that the body is arcing as well. The rest can stay the same, you know? The rest can stay consistent. But the way that it's just currently staying there makes it feel like the belt's not moving at all, where the belt should be moving, at least on the top side of it. You know, should be not twisting, but should be being pulled up and pushed in as well. Okay. When he lifts his torso and then lowers it. And the other thing that I mentioned as well was oh yeah, you also have really interesting smears. I really like the smears. These smears are really, really interesting. I'm really curious to see how you did them painted, how you did the coloring. And then the last thing is, you see how the hair is a little erratic? So every single frame you drew makes perfect sense. So this frame makes sense, then the hair goes away, perfect sense, then it stays away, perfect sense, then it starts to like fall back down and goes a little bit, overshoots the other side, and then it rests. This one is probably not necessary, or not as necessary as the others, because it's pretty much, the hair's pretty much at rest here. The problem is, it's happening too fast. Like, all these frames of the hair are fine, but they need to happen slower. Because now it's just, it's like a gust of wind. It's just blowing from side to side. And And here it's fine, here it's fine, here it's also okay. And here the issue with these... Oh, can you... Okay, maybe it takes a bit longer. Here it's okay. Again, it's a little too fast. You gotta give it a couple more frames for the hair to settle and for the hair to float a little bit. Other than that, I would say this is a very interesting clip. This part I'm going to ignore because it's very clearly unfinished. And it's also very clearly here for comedic effects, which I think is cool. So other than that, this is what I would say about this clip in particular. It's very creative. It has very clear, very, very interesting keyframes and very, very fun smears. And a very fun text as well. It's a very fast-paced clip too, which is not easy to pull off. So I'd say this is pretty good.
Yeah, I used an old audio that I did for my classes. I was talking kind of fast.
So, would anyone like to provide their inputs? Anything that they would like to say about the clip? You can be critical, you can praise, doesn't matter.
I feel like the kind of like motion is coming through the dramatic, I guess what you called dynamic. What was the term that you used?
I used a few. I said the clip was dynamic. I said it had a lot of energy. It has a lot of like... It's very interesting. It also does a really good job of staging, which we haven't spoken of yet, because it guides the eye very well to where it's supposed to happen, to where it's supposed to be. You're always looking at where you're supposed to look, which is really good. But yes, I'm sorry, Nacho, I interrupted you.
No. Yeah, I completely agree. Yeah, it's very sort of like theatrical.
It is.
Yeah, and fun.
I believe. Okay, Jotul, you want to say something?
Yeah, I was just gonna say good job, man. Like, I don't know how long you've been doing this for, but the movements are really fun. Yeah, I think everything works really well for me. I think it's mainly just that second movement. So when he's sort of not this one, but that one there, just feels a little bit clunky to me. Everything else feels really, really cool. At first, I didn't realize he had little like streamer things on his arms. So I thought his like whole bicep shaped when he like flexes at first, but that's just more a me thing, I think. But yeah, I thought it was like his whole bicep just suddenly started shaking at first. But when you slowed it down, it was cool. I really like the character design. I love the personality that comes through.
Want to show the color one?
Yes, do feel free. Link it or screen share.
See, I don't know how my linked it into Discord because it's kind of over the megabyte. I'll just share the screen.
Okay. Then I will move Discord over to the side, and we can look at it there. Do screen share?
Yeah, I mean, other than that, man, good job.
Thanks. Can you guys see it?
Yes, I can. Ooh, okay.
Okay, can everyone else see? I was assuming that everyone can see. I'm gonna play it now.
Okay, it looks cool. This reeks of D&D to me for some reason.
Yeah, this works, man. The critique I had with the bicep is not applicable in a all. So good job.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay. Okay, because I gotta move this. Okay, so stop this, and let's move this back.
Wow, that was awesome. Thanks for sharing this one, Zero. I love it. I like that, the colors are so intense. It's kind of feels like a very specific style.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyone else want to say anything? Or do we move on? Mesh?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, yeah, I thought, yeah, I think that like the personality of the character really shows through really good thing, and yeah, I just really like that move of where he just kind of windmills his arms and then goes into like flexing his bicep, and yeah, I think that's like a really strong thing. Like I feel like you could take maybe
Oh
like
crap.
I don't you could take like the um like the like a cup like maybe 2 or 3 of these poses and sort of transition them and make like an animated like looping gif or something out of it. Uh yeah, I don't know. But yeah, I like how he snaps into the different poses, and especially yeah, that choice you made of how he just windmills his arms out, and yeah, that pose right there, yeah. But anyway, yeah, good job.
It's around here where he windmills his arms. This pose is brilliant. This movement is brilliant. Just goes whoosh. This doesn't make any sense. Like physically. I love this. I love that that's how it is. Yeah, it's just cool. It's just cool.
Like in motion, you don't even
You don't see
it.
it.
Frame, it's like yeah.
You don't see
Doesn't
it.
register that.
I did notice those jaggedy line things while the thing was in motion.
These jagged line things are smear frames.
Okay. I didn't know what those were.
They're called smear frames. They are a technique that you can use to heighten the notion of that something's moving. You know how when something's moving, even if you take like, are you familiar with like film camera? And
Yeah.
and with the
Wait,
concept of
is that specific? Is that a specific program?
no, like with a film camera, with like taking film from like recording film or video or whatever. You have motion blur, which is when something moves very fast from one frame to the next. There is a blur.
So it gives the effect of blur.
Yes, it's what happens with motion blur in film. In animation, there are techniques called smear frames that do that, but obviously you can exaggerate them, you can push them further, and you can do a lot of things with it. If you look, yep, Paul just posted a brilliant example of smear frames in SpongeBob. In fact,
This is like the first animation I've done that has smear frames.
and I will find real quick Disney smear frames, because it's not very difficult to find situations like these of frames where characters have 4 and 5 eyes and multiple fingers and multiple hands that are floating and things like that. These are what smear frames are. They help to accentuate the motion by letting it linger on screen a little bit longer than it should be, technically. They can be really cool. Like, over here, there's a bunch of heads. This dude's got like 6 noses. That's because I don't know exactly what happened, but either he's turning his head real fast or he got slapped real hard. Either one of these happened. So his head moved really fast, and to help with the notion of how fast he's moving, you smear the head across multiple frames. And that's what these jagged lines are. They help to convey that the arm is moving really dang fast. That's what they're here to do. Alright, so. And with that done, let us move then into the next part, where we're going to get back into the principles of animation, and we're going to get started on spacing and timing. Here you have a very brief image that gives an idea of what it might be. So spacing and timing are... I am still streaming, correct? I am streaming the wrong thing. There we go. Okay, so going back a little bit. This is what you were supposed to see before. We're going back to this. The little principles organized. This is the order in which we're going to be, the final order in which we're going to be looking at them. And there's a little image on the side with the ball bouncing that has some things specifying the differences between spacing and timing. So already from this, we get the idea that spacing is something that happens from one drawing to the next. Happens from this to this to this to this to this to this. It happens for every drawing, while timing is the time that happens, the number of frames that separate two drawings, usually the start and end of an action. So, back to here. So, spacing is the change that an object undergoes from one drawing to the next, and that change can happen in a lot of ways. In here, it happens in position, which is the most obvious, but it can also happen in size, in the direction that an object is facing. You can have an object turning, in the form that the object takes, through squash and stretch, through how fabrics or hair or water literally change their shape, and through texture as well. Although texture is very often not used because it is very difficult to work with. And timing, again, is the time in frames that it takes for an object to fully complete one motion. It's the time between any two frames, usually the start and the end of a motion. So I'm going to show you four little examples of timing that I have ready here, of spacing, I mean. Not here, but no, where are the videos? There are the videos. Will they open? They will open. Okay. Is it showing properly? It is showing properly. Good. So, the four examples.
I
Yes.
just have two boxes going around. Is that?
You should be seeing a white background.
No.
Or a white video player, I mean.
White video player, but yeah, I see that, but I just see two boxes going around.
Two boxes?
Two blue boxes.
I think that's the loop that plays when it's reconnecting or something.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. Well, that's...
You might
I
try.
had to leave again.
Refresh.
Yeah, disconnect and reconnect, maybe.
She left, and she's back. And now you have to reconnect to the stream.
Here we go. Okay.
You are not watching... There you go. You're watching the stream now.
Thank you.
Do you see the video player?
Oh, I see a white screen.
Okay,
so.
good. That's exactly what
Awesome.
you're
Thank
supposed
you.
to see.
Thank-
So this is also going to play on loop. And this has...
Hey,
Yes?
sorry, real quick. I'm gonna have to leave real quick because I got something to do right now. Actually,
Okay, fair enough.
I'll try to see if I can come next week.
Alright, all good. Have a good one, Zuriel. Alright, so this is going to play the clips then. Oh, wrong one. This is not supposed to play now. Okay, let's open it again. Great. Now, I just want to make a quick note that each one of the little clips separated by 1 second of blank screen take exactly the same amount of time. But I assume that they all felt different in how they were perceived, basically, that they did different things. So, would anyone like to... Oh, this closed now. This got a swap. There we go. So would anyone like to talk about how the different clips did things differently? What's different between them? Or at least how they felt different? No. Mesh?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I get. Yeah, I guess the first one was like just the ball. The ball was just moving continuously. So it's it's moving at a continuous rate. So you don't really know anything about when it started rolling or what you're just seeing it mid roll, I guess. And then second one, you see it slow down to a stop. So whatever caused it to start rolling is somewhere off screen to the left, or whatever the conditions were that led to that. And then the next one is like the ball has its own power and it's rolling on its own, and it's starting up slow and then it gets fast.
Okay.
Its own force.
Okay, fair enough. That is a very valid answer to what I asked. Although it is not exactly the answer that I was trying to get at.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you did catch. So first there's this one, which is actually just not moving. It's just standing there, menacingly. Then you have one that moves, and it moves at the same rate, exactly. And you have another one that decelerates, and you have another one that accelerates. I made these examples precisely to illustrate the 4 primary ways that spacing can be used when it comes to position, but it can also be applied to any other kind of change. You can use spacing to hold. To hold is when you use the same drawing repeatedly across multiple frames. It's what happened in the first one, where the same drawing was used for 48 frames. I believe that was 48, yes. In the second example, you have a ball that is always moving more or less, because this isn't a computer, so it was a human who made this. It's moving always more or less the exact same amount every frame. And that gives it a constant rate of motion. In the third example, you have a ball that decelerates. Let's say these are actually swapped. You have a ball that decelerates, starts move that at the beginning, the change from one frame to the next is significant, and then progressively the change becomes smaller and smaller until it becomes nothing. And the last one, the change starts at 0 and it grows until it becomes very large. And these are the effects of spacing. You can keep something exactly the same for however much time you want. You can move it at a constant rate. You can accelerate, you can decelerate. Larger spacing, so now I can go over these frame by frame as well, and we can look at these. Okay, this is more or less when it starts. And you can see frame by frame what's happening. The spacing of the drawings is very large. I can point my fingers, but unfortunately I can't exactly show this. What I can do, however, is go into the animation software and show you exactly what's going on, because I have the light table. So right here, this is the constant movement, and right here, it's the deceleration. And you can see how the ball is, at first, starts very far apart from frame to frame, and then progressively it gets closer and closer until it reaches a point where it just stops. This is spacing in action. And through spacing, you can convey the quickness of movement. Just like I did a constant motion here. Here it's rolling. I did some extra editing. Just like I did a constant motion like this, you can do a constant motion that goes significantly faster or significantly slower, but it's still constant. You can do an acceleration that goes significantly faster, significantly slower, but it's still an acceleration. And that goes for all the other things as well, for deceleration. Now, there's also a fifth type of way to do spacing, and that is erratic or irregular, which is where there's no rule for how spacing is happening. So usually spacing either stays consistent, grows smaller, or grows larger. But in the case of irregular motion, it just kind of happens. It sometimes goes big, sometimes goes small, and this is happening from frame to frame. Usually, you don't want anything like this. You might want something like this for a fly, or for like something that's very nervously and scattered and erratic. But give or take, you will want to stick to these 4 primary ways to do the spacing in your animation and to explore how to do them. You can keep an image still by keeping the same drawing over and over. You can make it move constant by keeping the space between each drawing the same. You can accelerate by progressively increasing the space between each drawing, and you can decelerate by progressively decreasing the space between each drawing. I have here 4 other links that I am going to put down, which were created decades and decades ago by animator Norman McLaren, who goes very, very in depth, or at least more in depth than I do here, on these matters of spacing and timing. I will post them in just a bit. I'll post them once I'm done with the PowerPoint. So then, timing is the next thing, and I guess the video's already here, but I do have a video as well. Let me go back to videos, close this, and open timing. This is an example of timing. So this is the same motion, just taking different amounts of time. It's always the same ball decelerating from the same position to the same position, but it takes a different amount of time to do it each time. The first one is really fast, the second one is slower, and the third one is really slow. And this kind of thing also helps to understand that maybe something that comes to a stop very fast is light. Maybe something that comes to a stop slow is heavy and large. These are kind of things to consider when animating as well. So timing is the time that it takes from frame 1 to frame end. And these are things that you can change. So I was going to ask the same question. I kind of answered it already. How is timing executed differently? This one has, like, I believe 24 frames. This one has 48 frames. And this one has 96 frames. It's a difference in the time that it takes to complete the motion. And by having more time, obviously it has more frames, so obviously the spacing also changes. But you can see the frames are in fact aligned, there's just frames filling in the gaps. This is these are at their core timing and spacing. This is the basis for any kind of motion. If the spacing is off, then the motion is going to feel like it's like at some point it's going to feel like it staggers. And it doesn't follow the way that it should be following. Like it should be accelerating, but at some point the spacing is off, so it feels like it's accelerating, then it staggers, and it accelerates again. If it's supposed to be holding a constant movement, then if it's off, then it's going to be coming back and forth, and this is the very, very basis of everything. That is animation. Every other principle, in one way or another, builds off of spacing and timing and their own and the applications. In fact, next class next week is going to be precisely on one of them that builds off of these directly. So, with this understood, with this mentioned, is there any question or anything that I wasn't clear with? Because I know that I ramble a little bit. Before we jump to exercises. Since nobody's saying anything, I am going to assume that everyone is clear on what spacing and timing are, at least to some extent, and we're going to move on to the exercises. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to do this for every class, but for most of them I'm going to try. They're going to be easy exercises and they're going to be difficult exercises. In this class, the easy exercise is going to be doing a video very similar to what I did to exemplify spacing. It's going to open in just a second. You're going to do a video that exemplifies the 4 types of spacing, while keeping the timing, so the time that it takes from start to finish, constant. And you're going to use a sphere rolling from left to right of the screen. And each clip must be separated by 1 second of blank page. This is also a really good exercise to practice the actual workings of the software, which is also its intention. It's very simple, and I'm sure you can do it. So there's the added getting used to the software thing. For those who want something more challenging, you can do a sphere rolling towards the camera. This is going to require attention to perspective, as it's going to change how close, it's going to change the position of the ball as well as how large it gets and how quickly it gets and how fast it gets large. A quick note, exercises must be done on 24 FPS, on 2s, that means 1 drawing every second frame, in a 16:9 format and exported as MP4. They can be posted either to the classroom or to the 10-second clips thing that I mentioned earlier. And with that, I am going to say that is there any questions? Anything you would like clarified before jumping into them? If not, then I'd say feel free to begin.
I'm sorry, what kind of software are people using?
For this class, I am using Animation Paper. And I'm using this software because I consider it to be simple enough for people that are beginners to get used to animation, with complete awareness that this is not industry standard. But it's simple. It allows for quick iteration, quick going back and forth, going up and down in the frames, creating new frames. It allows for all the important things that you need to do. And it allows for a simpler environment in which to learn the actual ins and outs of animation that's similar to using a traditional light table with paper and a peg bar and all the more complicated things that I do not want to get into because they are honestly way too expensive. So this is my suggestion for people who have no prior experience. For people who do have prior experience with animation or animation software or even just painting software, you are free to use the software that is most comfortable to you. So I believe you said you used Adobe After Effects?
Yeah, After Effects, yeah, it was a couple years ago. Animation Paper, is that what you said to use?
Yes.
Okay.
That was the suggestion. It's hand-drawn. Do you have a tablet?
No, I do not.
Okay, then you're probably going to be better off doing this exercise on After Effects. Because this is explicitly a drawing software as well. You kind of do need to have a tablet to use it effectively.
Great, thank you.
So if anyone wants to share progress while we're doing this, feel free to do it. I'm going to give some pointers. I'm going to recommend that everyone, when you're doing the motion, first draw the first position and then draw the last position. So you always draw first and last. I'm going to do an example here at the bottom of mine.
One question I have is that when I make the first position and then I do control down to create a new blank page, how do I keep my understand, oh, this was my exact position that I need to continue from?
Okay, so do you see this little ghost image that I see of drawings?
No.
Okay, in that case, I want you to look at the light table up here, and I want you to turn on the backlight, which is also called onion skin in most other software. And once you do, you should see a ghost image of the drawings that you're not drawing in.
It's very faint, but I do see it. Is there a way to make it pop more?
Yes, you can customize the backlight, and you can change the opacity of the frames of up to 4 frames forward or backward. And I believe you can probably do something else as well. No. Okay. So 2 things is I recommend drawing first position. Oh, crap. I recommend getting started with a first position, then a last position on the other side. And then going into no. But where was it? Yeah, and then in X sheet, you add a new layer, and that layer is a ruler. So you draw a straight line. One of the greatest challenges of drawing, pulling off as straight a line as possible with your own hands, just so when you're drawing the spheres, you can draw them exactly along one line. Because otherwise you're going to be going up and down and up and down, and that's going to look a little bit weird. You can also do little steps like I did. These steps were used primarily for the constant motion. For the others, I just kind of winged it. Because you get a perspective that it should be, the spacing should always be reducing or increasing. I want you to also do keep track of how long each animation takes. Each little clip does take. Make sure that it lasts, this is 24, so 48 images. 48 frames, which means you should have to draw 24 drawings for each. Although you don't also have to draw, this is another little tip. If you press A, you can move the entire drawing that you're currently on. And you press enter, and it positions it. So you can also correct these little things that you may have gotten off before. Controllers to roll the drawing, to scale the drawing, to flip the drawing, and to also flip the drawing the other way. And this is also to freely scale it. press enter to enter the changes. And if you press L and circle it, you can click and drag onto a different frame to put it there as well. It makes it easier if you're in a rush to get the exercise done. If this was actual traditional, you'd have to actually draw all the 24 drawings. So I'm going to list them up here. Okay. The shortcuts are all listed, I believe. Does anyone want to share what they're doing so far? Or having any difficulties? Or would you rather the exercise be done outside of class and we look at them at the start of next class?
Outside of class.
Okay, fair enough. You'll just be observing today. That's okay, Jotel. That's okay. In that case, I am going to just show the exercises here a little bit again. A singular video, basically very, very similar to what I'm about to post in the lab chat. A very similar video to what I'm about to post in the lab chat. By the way, for those with questions, with doubts on how to use Discord, this class happens. Everything that's written outside of Classroom is going to happen within these 3 channels. So lab class is down here, where the little videos are being shared. 10-second clips is where you can post clips up to 10 seconds. of whatever you make, or whatever you found interesting for us to look at. And you can ask questions or post or and you can ask questions over here in the lab chat. For these exercises, I'm going to ask that you post them in this forum here. You create a new post, you call it week 2 exercise, and then you just put the exercise in there. Just go here and you add the video that you made. So you go here, I'm going through my own, and then you just boom, and there it is. Then you post it and it's going to be there. There we go. And you do something like this, and the video is going to show up here in the corner. So let me bring Discord out again. The exercises are one singular video with all 4 types of spacing, which are, what are they? Anyone want to say? Or the 4 primary ones at least.
Hold, constant, accelerating, and decelerating.
Exactly. Holding a frame, constant motion, accelerating motion, or decelerating motion. One video with all 4 with the same timing, so the same time from start to end frame, using a sphere rolling from left to right. Each one must be separated by 1 second of blank page. And for those who want to do something extra or want to do something more difficult, you may also do a sphere rolling towards the camera. I didn't have time to do that one because this week's been crazy. But I will also do it. And yes, and this is it. Do note, exercises must be done on 24 FPS, so you go into flip and play, playback rate, and you select 24 here. Flip and play, playback rate, 24. And they must be drawn on 2s, which means every second drawing, every second frame, you do a new drawing. You can see the X sheet moving every time I click forward, but only every 2 clicks does a new drawing appear. This is drawing on 2s on 24 FPS, which is the standard for most cartoon animations, or at least traditionally animated cartoon animations. And yes, in that case, that is going to be it. If anyone has anything else to say, do feel free to say it. If not, I will wait for the clips to show up down at the 10-second clips forum throughout the week. And we will continue next time talking about slow ins and slow outs and why they're important to animation and what they convey, which is going to be what's going to be done next time. Nacho is saying something. Thank you, Nacho. Feel free to unmute and speak, by the way. I didn't say that, but that is okay. During this part of the class, it is okay to unmute and speak.
Found that to get like an outline clear from the previous frame, I had to use a darker colored pen or draw tool. Because the base one is a bit too bright. Maybe it's just my screen is too bright. I don't know.
Let me see. It shouldn't be because... So you also have 3 drawing tools. You have pencil drawing tool, you have the marker drawing tool, and you have the brush. And each of them should be different. If you would rather use the marker, because the marker is in fact darker than the pencil, it's the middle one here. You can change its size by changing the maximum size and the minimum size based on pen pressure, and the opacity as well based on pen pressure. Same for the brush, and same for the pencil. You can have all of them working in tandem. But yes, if you did you have to use a different color, that's okay too. So long as you do get to see the outlines, that is perfectly fine. I was just trying to figure out if you could even change colors, but I don't think you can. You're just tied to the color of the layer. You change colors by clicking here and increasing or decreasing the opacity of the color. I pressed something, now you're in pop-out mode. You're in pop-out mode where? In the animation? In animation paper? In Discord. Okay. In that case, you can simply close the pop-out window and it's going to bring you back to normal Discord. But yes, if there's nothing else to be said or asked, I'm going to call the class done here and wait for the clips to roll throughout the week. And any other things that might be interesting as well. So yes, have a good time, everyone. Have a good week. I hope you enjoyed the class today. Do check out ToonCamp and ScriptCamp, because there's a lot of stuff happening there. If you're not already, that is. And I believe the Halloween Shorts competition is done, isn't it, Nacho?
Yes, deadline was last night, but we have script swap starting in about 40 minutes. It will be a chance for you to swap a feature, TV pilot, or short and get some feedback. So you trade with someone else. You guys read the scripts and then you come back next week and give feedback. And then we also have a horror workshop starting in about an hour and a half.
Very well then. Thank you, Nacho, for doing the advertising.
That's what they, yeah. They pay me the big bucks for the advertising.
And I'll see.
Question?
Yes?
When is the next class?
Next week? Probably at the same time? Unless time changes in the US. I don't know when daylight savings happens in the US.
Oh, I think it's this coming weekend.
Okay, in that case, it's either an hour earlier or an hour later.
What time zone are you in?
I'm from Portugal. I am in Greenwich Meridian Time.
Oh, okay. How is that in Eastern Standard Time?
That
So
is.
So do you see the little? Wait, that's the wrong. Hold on.
Currently, it's 4 p.m. Eastern time.
Okay, in that case, I am.
It'll be
So
4
it's
p.m.
it's 16:22 over there, correct? That in that case, I am
No, the
7.
class starts at 4 p.m. Currently,
It'll be
it's
4 p.m.
It's
It'll be
22.
4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right?
So
No,
19:20.
7 p.m. Eastern time.
7 p.m. Okay, thank you.
I'm sorry. 6 p.m. Eastern time.
It will
My
be
So if you-
lord!
Yeah, if you see in the chat, there's a little. This automatically will update. If there's any, whatever time change. But if you just click the interested button, you'll be notified when it's going to be starting up.
Okay.
You able to see that? That's for next Tuesday.
Interested. On the right.
Yes. It says there's a little interested button, and it'll also be on Meetup in case anyone joined from Meetup.
Interested. Got it. Thank you.
I'll just put this back over here. This is more useful. Yeah, okay, I need to put the videos that I mentioned on the Discord as well. So over here. Bro, what? What? I'm so confused. Okay, there we go.
Remembering exactly the correct time is going to be harsh after the daylight saving change.
Well,
Are you
it's
in an area without a time change?
I am. Is it going to change with the time change?
Yes. So
it'll still be 5. It'll
I
still
mean,
be the same times, correct?
whatever the time is there, that should be correct. maybe look after. So I think your time is not changing, but most others are changing, right? Yeah, let me just check here. What is the time zone that you're in?
I'm in Central, but
Central.
I do get affected by daylight savings.
Oh, okay. So then, if it's going to change for you, it's basically going to be 5 p.m. Central. If you're going to change your clock, then it'll be 5 p.m. for you.
Okay, because it'll still be 5 p.m. Good, because it already is 5 p.m. that this class starts.
Yeah, it should stay the same. The only ones who will see a different time is they don't have daylight savings.
That's what I was trying to understand. Thank you.
daylight savings is the eternal issue of the world.
I know. Just
I
get
will
rid
not.
of it everywhere. Why not?
I will not miss it
What's the
at
point?
all when it's gone.
Honestly,
Do we really need to milk the cows at a certain time of day or something? No.
no,
What's the
no,
purpose?
no. Makes no sense. Daylight